Okay, so today let's dive into AI and human rights.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
Yeah, it is, especially since we've got this white paper you sent us.
Oh, yeah, that one.
It's called.
Promoting and advancing human rights in global AI ecosystems.
Right, and that's
Yeah.
all futuristic and everything, but
It's not just robots taking over the world.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just like some far off thing.
It's happening now,
It's impacting our lives right now.
right now.
So this paper lays out a case for an international convention to govern AI.
Which I think is a great idea.
It is. It's pretty dense,
It's
but
very dense.
but it's packed with all these thought-provoking points.
Absolutely.
And we're going to try to distill the most important insights here today.
Sounds good.
So let's start with the basics. What exactly is AI?
Well, the white paper uses the OECD definition.
Okay, and what is that?
It describes AI as machine-based systems that can, for a given set of human-defined objectives, make predictions, recommendations, or decisions influencing real or virtual environments.
So basically, it's like uh, systems that analyze information,
Right.
and then they can make decisions.
And take action based on those decisions.
Yeah, even without us directly controlling them.
Like your social media feed.
Oh, yeah, curated by those algorithms.
Exactly. It's deciding what you see.
That's kind of creepy when you think about it.
It is. It can be.
But then it can also be used for good stuff like healthcare
Oh, yeah.
and
Definitely.
education
Yeah.
and even like disaster relief.
It's a powerful tool.
Yeah. So the white paper calls AI a double-edged sword.
Makes sense.
On one hand, it's doing all this amazing stuff,
Right.
but then on the other hand,
It can also be used for, like, surveillance.
oh yeah, in the workplace.
Or for making deep fakes.
Oh, those things.
Those are really concerning.
Yeah, the videos that make it look like someone's saying something they never did.
Right. It's all AI generated.
Wow, so we've got this powerful technology.
That can be used for good or bad.
Yeah, and that's where human rights come into play.
Absolutely. We can't forget about those.
So this isn't just about regulating AI,
No, it's about making sure it's developed and used ethically
right from the very beginning.
from the ground up.
And it's not just individual rights that are at stake.
Right. It's bigger than that.
What do you mean?
Well, think about collective rights. Like for indigenous peoples,
Oh, I see.
their cultural heritage could be exploited by AI systems.
If there aren't protections in place.
Exactly.
And what about the environmental impact?
Oh, that's huge too.
Because AI, it's not like it runs on air, right?
Nope. It needs a lot of energy.
One or two, right?
Tons of it, which has an impact on communities
Especially in the global south.
where resources are already scarce.
So this is getting really complex.
It is.
But the white paper says that existing legal frameworks,
They just aren't enough.
yeah, they're not equipped to deal with this.
With the unique challenges of AI,
So they're calling for this new international convention.
to focus specifically on AI and human rights.
Okay, so why do we need international law for this?
Well, AI is a global phenomenon.
It crosses borders.
It does. Companies like Google, Amazon.
They develop these systems that are used all over
Also, we need a global framework.
so that everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, otherwise it's just a free-for-all.
With potentially disastrous consequences.
Exactly. That's what the white paper's warning us about.
And they're saying this is urgent.
Very urgent. AI is evolving so fast
We need to catch up.
before it's too late.
So we've got this white paper calling for this convention.
Yes.
But what's the current situation like? Are there any regulations already?
There are some efforts internationally and regionally.
Like what?
The UNESCO recommendations on ethics of AI.
Okay.
And then there's the EU AI Act.
And what about globally?
There's the Global Digital Compact, adopted last year.
Okay, but it sounds like it's all kind of piecemeal.
It is. It's fragmented.
So that's why they're pushing for this convention.
Right. Could bring it all together.
Under one umbrella
Yeah. A global framework
to protect human rights.
in the age of AI.
But I have to admit, when I hear algorithmic bias,
Yeah.
it still sounds kind of vague to me.
I understand.
Can you give me an example, like a real world one?
Sure. Imagine an AI system being used for hiring.
Oh.
If the data it learns from is biased.
Like it reflects existing biases in the workplace.
Exactly. Like underrepresentation of women in leadership.
Uh,
The algorithm could end up perpetuating that bias.
Even if no one intended for that to happen.
Precisely. That's the danger.
So even with good intentions,
We could end up making things worse.
that's a scary thought.
It is. It's why this conversation is so important.
So it's not just about the tech itself.
No.
It's about how it's developed.
And how it's used.
And who controls it.
And who benefits from it.
Right. So many layers to this.
Absolutely.
But before we go any further with the convention stuff,
Okay.
let's talk about the global south for a minute.
Okay, that's a crucial part of this conversation.
Because AI could actually make the digital divide even worse.
You're right, it could.
We were just talking about how AI could make the digital divide worse.
Oh, absolutely.
So how does that play out in the global south?
Well, think about jobs.
Okay.
Jobs that are traditionally done by people in developing countries.
Right.
What if those jobs get automated by AI?
Oh, I see.
And that AI is developed and controlled by, say, companies in the global north.
That would create even more economic disparity.
Exactly, and it could lead to social unrest.
It's not just about the technology itself.
Yeah, it's about power.
Who has it? Who controls it?
And who benefits from it?
AI could be used for surveillance too.
Right, absolutely.
Like in ways that disproportionately affect marginalized communities.
We're already seeing that with facial recognition.
Yeah, those systems can be really biased.
Especially against people of color.
And if that gets amplified on a global scale,
Especially in countries with weaker human rights protections.
it's a recipe for disaster.
It really is.
Okay, so the white paper says we need this new convention to address these global power dynamics,
To make sure AI benefits everyone.
not just the select few.
Exactly.
It makes you wonder if this is even tougher than climate change.
Well, they're both huge challenges.
But they're connected too, right?
Absolutely. AI can be used to help with climate change.
Well, like for developing renewable energy.
Monitoring deforestation.
But we have to make sure those solutions
Don't just benefit wealthy countries.
and that they don't harm vulnerable communities.
Right. It's a delicate balance.
So this convention,
Yeah.
what would it actually look like?
Well, the white paper lays out a pretty comprehensive framework.
Can you give me some highlights?
Sure. So first, it needs to define AI clearly.
Okay, using a definition like the OECD one.
Yeah, so everyone's on the same page.
And then it needs to establish principles.
For AI development and use,
Transparency, accountability.
non-discrimination,
But how do you make sure those principles...
actually get put into practice.
Yeah, it's not enough to just say, be good.
Right. The convention would need to outline obligations.
For states, for governments.
What do they need to do to protect human rights in the age of AI?
So enact laws, create oversight mechanisms.
Provide remedies for people whose rights have been violated.
So this is really a whole new way of thinking about human rights law.
It is. Traditionally, it's been about protecting people from other people.
Or from the state itself.
But now we're talking about protecting people from algorithms.
From systems.
And those systems are often controlled by powerful corporations.
Or governments.
Which makes it even more complicated.
So that's why we need this international convention.
To create a legal framework.
For this new reality. But some people might say a new convention is too slow.
I can see that argument.
That's all bureaucracy.
And AI is moving so fast.
We need to act quickly.
But think about it this way.
Okay.
The longer we wait to establish clear guidelines, the harder it will be to fix things if they go wrong.
And with AI, the potential for things to go wrong.
It's huge.
Especially in areas like criminal justice.
Or autonomous weapon systems.
That's scary stuff.
It is.
It makes you wonder, how do we even define rights in a digital world?
That's a great question.
Like AI is making more and more decisions about our lives.
The lines are blurring.
Between the physical and the digital.
Our traditional ideas about rights might not be enough anymore.
That's why this conversation is so crucial.
We need to rethink those frameworks.
Develop new ones that can address AI.
We need to be proactive.
Anticipate potential threats before they become real problems.
Exactly.
The white paper talks about algorithmic rights.
Right. That's one way to address this.
What are those exactly?
It's about protecting human rights in a world where algorithms have power.
So, what? Like, a right to know when an algorithm is making a decision about you?
Yes, and a right to understand how that decision was made.
No more hiding behind the algorithm made me do it. Excuse me.
Exactly. Transparency is key.
But how do you ensure transparency with these complex systems?
It's a challenge, but not impossible.
The white paper suggests international oversight.
Like a special rapporteur on AI and human rights?
Or even an international court for AI disputes.
That's a bold idea,
It is, but maybe that's what we need.
given the scale of the challenge.
The white paper also talks about specific areas where AI is risky,
Yeah, like the criminal justice system.
where biased algorithms could lead to wrongful convictions.
We're already seeing that happening.
And then there's AI-powered weapons.
Autonomous weapons, yeah.
Do we really want machines making life or death decisions?
That's a question we need to answer.
And the white paper doesn't stop there.
No.
It talks about the impact of AI on future human rights.
Future rights.
Yeah, like what happens when we have brain-computer interfaces?
Combined with AI.
We could be talking about thought manipulation,
Or emotion manipulation.
even memory manipulation.
That's getting into some serious sci-fi territory.
It is, but it's not that far-fetched.
We're already seeing the early stages of this technology.
So we need to start thinking about how to protect those rights.
Now, before it's too late?
This convention, it's not just about fixing current problems.
No.
It's about shaping the future,
Making sure AI is used ethically,
ensuring that technology serves humanity.
not the other way around.
I like that. A future where AI serves humanity.
That's the goal.
But we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have,
I bet our listeners are wondering what the white paper actually proposes.
as a solution.
So what's the big question it poses? So we've talked about all these challenges with AI and human rights.
A lot to unpack there.
It really is. And the white paper, it leaves us with this big question.
Yeah, the million-dollar question.
Do we need a new international convention?
To govern AI, to protect human rights.
It's a tough one.
It is.
I mean, we've seen how AI, it impacts everyone.
Individuals, communities, even the environment,
And the current laws, they're just not enough.
they're struggling to keep up.
But a new convention, some people might say it's too slow.
Too much bureaucracy.
Yeah, and AI moves so fast.
It does.
They might also worry about stifling innovation.
That's a valid concern.
Like, what if it slows down progress?
But the white paper argues that relying on regional approaches,
Or self-regulation by companies.
it's just not enough.
So we need something more.
A global framework, binding for everyone,
To make sure AI is used ethically,
and responsibly,
it's a tricky balance.
finding that sweet spot between innovation and protection.
And the white paper, it doesn't just focus on states and governments.
No, it also highlights individual responsibility.
What do you mean?
It asks us, what are we doing
As individuals.
to shape the future of AI?
So it's not just up to the governments.
It's up to all of us.
Are we just going to be passive consumers?
Or are we going to demand more transparency?
More accountability from the companies developing AI?
Are we going to push our governments to take this seriously?
It's a call to action.
It is. We can't just sit back and watch this happen.
We need to stay informed.
Be critical of the information we're given about AI.
Don't just believe the hype.
Or the fear-mongering.
Do your own research
Understand the nuances.
and use your voice.
Speak up. Advocate for ethical AI.
Support organizations working on these issues. We're not just bystanders.
We have a choice
To shape the future of AI.
to make sure it serves humanity.
We're not the other way around.
That's what it's all about.
A future where AI benefits everyone.
That's the future we should be striving for.
So, to answer the white paper's question,
Do we need a new international convention?
it's not an easy answer,
It's complex.
but it's a conversation we need to have.
a conversation that involves everyone.
Because the future of AI.
It's our future.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into AI and human rights.
We hope you found it informative.
And thought-provoking.
Keep asking those tough questions
Stay engaged.
and help shape the future of AI.
Until next time.